your opinion on this. Saturday Night Live 50th anniversary show. They did one thing, they did a sketch where Tom Hanks puts on a MAGA hat, so he's a Trumper, and then Keenan comes over to shake his hand, and he won't shake his hand.
Yeah.
And I said this on Fareed's show the other day. I found that that's so old. You know, I didn't vote for him. I get all the bad things about that administration, but if you think they don't shake black people's hands, it's just you're wrong. That's not who they are. Matt Gaetz shakes black people's hands. You know, Kid Rock will shake your hand. It's just not helpful to like think that half the country that's where they are. That's your
Still, you're a comedian. You know, it's part of its comedy.
I understand.
But let's be honest. There's a huge faction of the MAGA movement that's really fucking racist.
I wouldn't say huge. No, I'd say partly.
I would say huge.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we have different perspectives.
I would say huge.
So that's an example. So Don Lemon head, sour Don Lemon head, he is one of your race hustlers that you might hear me talk about or reference here and there. Now I'm watching him because I didn't know if he did this just to get paid. I don't know. But I'm watching this and I'm thinking he might really believe this stuff. So you literally believe that over half, and he'll try to dispute half because they are coping with the loss. The country is racist. And then there's something wrong with anybody that's not white who support Donald Trump. That is crazy. But he's in a bubble. He in an echo chamber. And then Bill Maher, on the other hand, is like, and he don't even like Trump.
And even if they're not, you have to overlook a lot of that in order to support Donald Trump, which I think is maybe even more egregious than just saying I'm a racist.
So what do you think is the worst? I mean, to me, the back in, was it 89 with the Central Park 5?
Yeah.
That was, to me, like the most egregious thing because it just seems so like, and then, of course, the Obama birth certificate, which...
You mean with Donald Trump?
With Trump.
What's the most egregious?
Yeah, I mean, he sued me.
Okay, so, first of all, the birth certificate, the whole birther thing, Hillary Clinton started that. But they'll never tell you that. But it's on the books, but nobody want to go back and find out or listen or act like they don't remember. Hillary Clinton started that. You got to remember, she was running against Obama too at the time. And the Central Park 5. So this is the one thing that when people say Donald Trump racist, they always go to the Central Park 5. So they beat you over the head with Central Park 5, Central Park 5, Central Park 5. I think in one of my videos talked about the whole housing thing, which didn't have nothing to do with black people. But the Central Park 5, so I wanted to read the letter. So I want to read the letter just to make sure, because from my understanding, it was a lot of crime back then, and people was not happy. And that was one black, white, or indifferent once the Central Park 5 crime happened. It wasn't like it was just white people outraged. It was everybody was outraged. So what I did is I went and got the letter. And we are going to read this letter together. And when we get done with the letter, drop it in the comments. Let me know what you think and tell me, is this racist or not? So yeah, we're gonna so here's the letter. Bring back the death penalty. Now, disclaimer, I personally do not believe in the death penalty. Bring back the death penalty. Bring back our police. Okay, so this letter was signed by Donald Trump. And I think this is back in '84 during the whole Central Park 5 incident and everything. So it says, what has happened to our city over the past 10 years? What has happened to law and order, to the neighborhood cop we all trusted and safeguard our homes and families, the cop who had the power under the law to help us in times of danger, keep us safe from those who will prey on innocent lives to fulfill some distorted inner need. What has happened to the respect for authority, the fear of retribution by your courts, society, and the police for those who break the law, who wantonly trespass on the rights of others? What has happened to the complete breakdown of life as we knew it? Many New York families, white, Black, Hispanic, and Asian, have had to give up the pleasure of a leisurely stroll in the park at dusk, the Saturday visit to the playground with the families, the bike ride at dawn, or just sitting on their stoops, giving them up as hostages to a world ruled by the law of the streets, as roving bands of wild criminals roam our neighborhoods, dispensing their own vicious brand of twisted hatred on whomever they encounter. At what point did we cross the line from fine and noble pursuit of genuine civil liberties to the reckless and dangerously permissive atmosphere which allows criminals of every age to beat, grape helpless women, and then laugh at her family's anguish? And why do they laugh? They laugh because they know that soon, very soon, they will be returned to the streets to grape and maim and unalive once again, and yet face no great personal risk to themselves. Now, this actually sounds like a lot of people's feeling today. Mayor Coach has stated that the hate and rancor should be removed from our hearts. I do not think so. I want to hate these muggers and unalivers. They should be forced to suffer, and when they unalive, they should be executed for their crimes. They must serve as examples so that others will think long and hard before committing a crime or an act of violence. Yes, Mayor Coach, I want to have these unalivers, and I want to hate these unalivers, and I will always will. We can't say those words on YouTube, and I don't want to get a strike, and I'm just trying to get started. So if you say grape, unalive. For those of you who don't know, I'm not looking to psychoanalyze or understand them. I'm looking to punish them. That's the point that a lot of people are at right now in 2025. If the punishment is strong, the attacks on innocent people will stop. I recently watched a newscast trying to explain the anger in these young men. I no longer want to understand the anger. I want them to understand our anger. I want them to be afraid. How can our great society tolerate the continued brutalization of its citizens by crazed misfits? Criminals must be held to that their civil liberties end when an attack on our safety begins. When I was young, I sat at the dinner table with my father and witnessed two young bullies cursing and threatening a very frightening waitress. Two cops rushed in, lifted up the thugs, and threw them out the door, warning them never to cause trouble again. I miss the feeling of security New York's finest once gave to the citizens of this city. Let our politicians give back our police department's power to keep us safe. Unshackle them from the constant chant of police brutality, which he's saying. So unshackle them from the constant chant of police brutality. So basically the same kind of stuff happened today. If a story come out and something happens and you're dealing with these domestic terrorists, these young, these youngins, and where I'm from, that could be Black, white, and different, Asian, or whoever. You're dealing with them. Some happen, incident, God forbid, some happen. It's either police brutality, which they're still saying today, or racism. So unshackle them from the constant chant of police brutality, quotes, which every petty criminal hurls immediately after an officer who has just risked his or her life to save another's. We must cease our continuous pandering to the criminal population of this city. Give New York back the citizens who earned the right to be New Yorkers. Send a message loud and clear to those who would unalive our citizens and terrorize New York. Bring back the penalty and bring back our police. Like I said, I don't believe in that, the death penalty, but I definitely think that you could be taken. First of all, that's too easy, but because it's not my place or my call to make those decisions about somebody's life, that is only up to the Most High. So, but I definitely believe they should be somewhere down in the dungeon in a hole somewhere, probably get out because they got to get some sun or something. Eat bread every day and water. I don't know, but something got to happen other than yes. So, yeah. So, let me know what you think. That was the article. I didn't hear nothing about race except when he said that. The thing is, they brought that back up and they said that because, first of all, I don't even think it was more than 5 of them. It was a whole bunch of them if you watch the documentary. And all of them were not black. And they admitted it. So I don't know what everybody was mad. I don't know what the people was expecting. The crime was going up all over. And that was just across the board. And if we want to talk about, if anything, or injustices that may have happened, I don't, whatever, that's your opinion, but that may have happened. The city was is an all Democratic city. So it was a Democratic mayor, judge, lawyers, all that. So, yeah, make your own decisions. I'm just here to give you all the information so you can have an informed decision. This is just too much, pushing this narrative and dividing the people with this race agenda and all this stuff, especially when it comes to Donald Trump, because they hate him because he's finna turn down the establishment. But so let's get back to Bill Maher.
Donald Trump.
With Trump.
What's the most egregious?
Yeah, I mean, he sued me, Trump did.
For the orangutan thing.
Yes, because I was making fun of that because that was very racist. But also, like, he seemed to be there was something very animating about his just laser focused drive about the Central Park 5 thing. That seemed to, you could feel the racism in there.
What was the payoff? Why was he there? He wasn't running for office.
It was right.
Yeah.
It just seemed like there's something in him. And of course, we know his father was a virulent racist.
Did you think that letter was egregious? I mean, if we just talking about in general and criminals and crime, especially what we're going through, like, do you think it was egregious? And do you think it was racist? Please drop it in the comments and let me know. I'm after reading that letter, I honestly want to know what y'all think.
Yeah.
And he grew up in a different time, and he's almost 80. And yes, I understand that element to it. But, to ascribe to all the people who voted for him, which is a majority of the country.
I didn't say all the people.
Yeah, I understand.
It's not a majority. It's plurality.
Well, whatever it is, he won.
Yeah.
It's at least half the country. I mean, to ascribe his worst traits to all of them.
I don't think it's half the country, but go on.
Well,
so ascribe his worst traits to whatever.
How do you win an election?
Well,
and the popular
first it's
vote.
the electorate. Not everybody votes, and I think most of the people in America don't vote, and I don't think it's half the country. So what I'm saying is, I don't think half the country is racist, and I don't think all of MAGA is racist. But I do think that there's a huge element in the MAGA party that is racist, whether they are conscious of it or not. Some of them are not, and if they are not, they have had to overlook a lot of racism and a lot of bigotry. And if you do that and you say, I'm okay with this, I think that makes you worse than someone who just says, hey, I'm a racist, and they tell you.